Run.
Well, welcome everybody to On the Run, and it is the very last On the Run for this run around Asia and even Europe, and including Australia. I will be off to Hong Kong on Sunday and then back to Macau for our MAD event on Tuesday of next week. So next week's On the Run will be coming from home base in Macau. And it's been a very long On the Run. I've been, January 30, I left Macau. So February, March, and one day in January is 60, 20, 80 days so far. By the time I get there, it'll be 85 days. So 12 weeks. Where are you? You're there on the run. And I'm looking forward to getting back to Macau. So anyway, unfortunately, you've got the phone again. We still have the technical problems from last week. I hope to resolve them when I get back to Macau. But hopefully the quality of this is not too bad and you can see me and you can hear me. And I'm recording this on Thursday afternoon. We have our very first MAD event in Manila tonight. You'll be seeing this on Friday, or maybe Thursday night late or Friday morning. And hopefully by then it will have been a success. So we're really looking forward to that. I'm back in Okada Manila again. And as you can see, I'm not so pink when using the phone for some reason. When using the laptop, I'm a lot pinker. Anyway, it is what it is. Now, I've got my list up on a TV screen here. I think your list is over there or over there. I'm not quite 100% sure, but let's run through the news of the week because it's been a huge week, a really interesting week. So let's go straight to Japan. Prime Minister Kishida confirmed that the MGM Oryx consortium would be or has been approved for their Osaka IR, which is great news for them. Frankly, it's great news for the industry. It's great news for Japan. The Nagasaki one is not yet confirmed, and I think that's a lot more problematic and may or may not be confirmed, but it's great to see the MGM one confirmed. And now the real hard work starts for Bill Hornbuckle, for Ed Bowers, for Giro over there as well. You guys have got to get cracking and get this thing built and opened by 2029. I'm going to make a prediction here, which I've been making for years and years and years, that it won't open in 2029. It'll open in the 2030s. But that's not really MGM's fault. That's the nature of Japan. But good luck. And if you can get it open by 2029, good luck to you. I hope you do. So a bit more, we had a few more stories I've noted down here. So one interesting thing was that the score, the Japanese government released the score that they gave MGM, and it was 65.8% with a passing grade of 60%. So just barely a pass. And I think a lot of these numbers, frankly, I think some of these numbers are contrived to a certain extent. I mean, if MGM's ability to run an IR, I think it came in at around, don't quote me, go look at the story, but I think it was around 15 or 14 out of 20. We'll say what you like about MGM, but they can definitely run an IR. They run many of them around the world and nobody can dispute that. So if they're only getting around 70-75% mark for the ability to run an IR, who knows what Casinos Austria will get down in Nagasaki. Should be a lot less than that. But some people have given me a little bit of a conspiracy theory that the reason the Japanese government wants to only just barely pass them is if it all goes pear-shaped, then they can say, well, they only just passed. We didn't really think they were that good. Who knows? Anyway, I think that'll all be forgotten eventually, and they'll get the doors open in due course. It's going to be a very expensive exercise, but it could be a very profitable one. And that leads on to the next story I've noted up here. JP Morgan came out and said that the Osaka IR is going to heavily rely on domestic play. Well, know something, Sherlock, is what I would say to that. Or, well done, Captain Obvious. Of course, I've been saying that for years. It's going to be a very heavily domestic casino. basically all Japanese players. Of course, there'll be some visitation, but I think there'll be lots and lots of Japanese play. I think locals are much like the Philippines, but even more than the Philippines. I think local play will be predominantly it, and very little regional impact, very little impact on Macau and even the Philippines. But of course, it will have a big impact on Korea because foreigner-only casinos there, and Japan's a very big feeder market for them. Thank you to Okada Manila for the water. Now, what's next here on my list? Still on the Osaka IR, because it is probably the biggest thing to happen in our industry for a long, long time. Well, COVID aside, of course. CBRE analyst John Decree came out and said that former Union Gaming, if you don't know what CBRE is, CBRE took over Union Gaming, but former Union Gaming and now CBRE analyst John Decree came out and said that this could be amongst the most profitable casinos in the world, and I agree with him. And his arguments are very large population base, 125 million people in Japan, but more specifically, a very large catchment area around Osaka. I mean, the Kansai region's got, don't quote me on the number, but maybe 20 million people within driving distance of that property. That's a lot more than Singapore, I guess around triple the Singapore number. And the big clincher here is that they will get Tokyo traffic. There's not going to be no competition in Tokyo. The greater Tokyo metropolitan area or metropolis is the largest metropolis in the world. I believe at 41 million people in a contiguous metropolitan area around Tokyo. That goes beyond the 23 wards. But, you know, it's only a 2-hour very fast train to Osaka, an hour-and-a-half flight. I've done that very fast train many, many, many times. It's extremely convenient. So I think a lot of people in Tokyo will be going there until an IR opens in Tokyo, and it's going to be many, 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 many years before an IR opens in Tokyo, if at all. So they have a real opportunity there, MGM, to make this Osaka property an absolute jewel in their crown, incredibly profitable. They only own 40% of it. Oryx has 40%. And the remaining 20% is split between, I think, about 20 different Japanese companies in a consortium. That's quite a common model in Japan. So yeah, interesting. And the number that they threw out there was maybe could be a $2 billion EBITDA per year property. Wow. So, you know, more than Singapore. And they also, or John Decree also mentioned that rooms, it might be a supply side constrained property, demand might outstrip supply, so their lack of rooms could be an issue. All right, enough about Japan. That's a lot on Japan. Let's go over to Macau. Well, just this morning for me, yesterday for you, Sands announced an EBITDA, adjusted EBITDA, I think it was, of US 398 million for the first quarter of 2023. Yay, COVID's over. Congratulations, Sands, well deserved for sticking it out. So that is fantastic news. For those of you, I'm sure 99% of people watching here will know, but I should mention that Sands is the company that runs, or Sands China Limited, subsidiary of Las Vegas Sands, is the company that runs the Venetian, the Londoner, the Parisian, and the Sands, and the Plaza in Macau. And what do we have here? Revenues were greater than doubled year on year to 1.27 billion. I've made some notes here. Compare that to the Q4 22 revenue, so the previous quarter's revenue of 439 million. So 1.27 billion. Wow, that's triple almost. Wow. And adjusted EBITDA last quarter of minus 51 million compared to plus 398 million. So what a turnaround. Still a net loss of $10 million after all the line items after adjusted EBITDA, which is basically break even with a company that big. But hey, break even at the bottom line, that's a massive success given what we've seen for the past 3 years. Right. What else do we have? Oh, yes, quite interesting. So this morning, the earnings call, IAG managing editor Ben Blashke was up at 4 a.m. Yes, IAG, we get up at 4 a.m. to bring the news to you. We don't copy other media outlets. We do it ourselves. Ben was up at 4 a.m. listening to the earnings call, and Grant Chum was speaking on the earnings call. A bit of a shout out to Grant Chum. He actually does a very good job on those earnings calls. He comes across as sort of the stats guy, but the guy who knows all the numbers and knows where things are at, and he does a very good job. So what did he say? Oh, yes, he said 31% of hotel rooms were offline in Q1. Now, this is sort of a common theme at the moment in Macau. A lot of rooms are not yet open because we don't have the staff. We've been through 3 years of COVID. There's a lot to be done before we can get all the rooms back open again. So we're sort of supply side constrained in Macau at the moment compared demand outstrips supply. So if they can get the rooms online in Q2, which I'm sure they will, then we're looking for even happier days for Sands and for everyone. Interesting, they're rolling win. I've noted these numbers down. Rolling win was 155 million. That's 23% of 2019 levels, which with the demise of junkets you'd expect. Their non-rolling win was 911 million, which is 60% of 2019 levels. And their slots win was 118 million, which is 77% of 2019 levels. So still not at 2019 levels, but when GGR gets to 2019 levels, profit will be higher than 2019 levels because the margins are, of course, higher because you don't have to pay the junkets. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. Still in Macau, on the Saturday just gone, we had the highest ever arrivals since the pandemic, 98,000. Still haven't hit that magical 108,000 number yet, which was the average in 2019, but we're getting close. So that's the highest since early 2020. And the demographic is allegedly a bit younger and a little bit more from Hong Kong, which is interesting. But to be expected, Hong Kong were really seriously locked out of Macau. Whereas mainland China, they had to jump through hoops, they had to get tested, they had the worry of being trapped in Macau, but they still could come to Macau. Hong Kong people couldn't come to Macau at all. So it makes sense now that we've opened up that perhaps you would expect a bit of a deluge from Hong Kong people. We also had the Macau government confirm this week that in Q1 of this year, no less than 3,900 hotel rooms were being built in Macau. So that's very much needed. Macau has never had enough hotel rooms. And now that things are opening up again, it will need many more hotel rooms. A number I often throw out there is that there's about 42,000 hotel rooms on the books in Macau. There was 18 or 19,000 when I arrived in Macau. Now there's 42,000. Compare that to Las Vegas with 165,000. Big difference. Yeah, so we've got 3,900 and we've got another, another 1,300 on the way, still on the books, but not yet approved to be built. So that's 5,200. So that 42,000 will be up to 47,000 in the not too distant future. Of course, obvious hotels that we're talking about here. Macau Studio City just opened their phase 2 with the Epic Tower. And of course, Galaxy Phase 3 with the Andaz, and Raffles. I can't wait to see the Raffles at Galaxy Phase 3. So that'll be interesting. The Macau chief executive confirmed that there are now 12 foreign-only gaming zones in operation in Macau. I'm aware of them in 5 of the concessionaires. I'm not sure about Wynn. They may well have one. I just don't know for certain. So if there's anybody at Wynn watching this that would like to confirm that to me, shoot me an email, let me know. And I'll be back in Macau next week, and I'd love to go and see them. And I'm a foreigner, so I can go. Yes. So there you go. So look, I talked last week about these foreign-only gaming zones. I'm a bit leery of them, whether they're really going to work. But look, that's what they want, so that's what they're doing. Grant Chum did mention it. In the earnings call yesterday morning for you, and he was talking them up, but he kind of has to do that, right? Yes, what else? Let's go over to the Philippines and Okada Manila, where I am right now at this exact moment. Big shout out to Okada Manila, host of the Mad event tonight. What do we got here? Their GGR climbed to 209 million for Q1 in 2023. This quarter just gone. So congratulations to Byron Yip, to the whole team at Okada Manila. Well done. It's great to be talking about numbers and revenue and good results rather than some of the drama that's been going on at Okada Manila over the years. So well done. That's a fantastic result. I've made some notes here, up 97% year on year, up 10% quarter on quarter. Because the Philippines obviously was improving quite significantly through 2022. And some interesting publicly available numbers here. Mass 57 million, slots 71 million, VIP 81 million for the GGR. So, I mean, very, very roughly a third. And while I've been in the Philippines for the past 3.5 weeks, I've noticed that this is a bit of a theme in the Philippines. Roughly a third VIP play, a third non-VIP play on tables, and a third slots. Adjusted EBITDA, 60 million US for the quarter, up 189%, nearly triple. Well, that's better than a kick in the bum, isn't it? Not bad at all. Well done. And that's fantastic. And also another interesting number, other revenue, non-gaming revenue, 19 million. So not bad, 10% roughly. Yeah, 19 on 209. That's got to be just under 10. Yeah, it's 9.5%, isn't it? Let's call it 10%. So that's good. Newport World Resorts, their numbers also came out this week. 90% year-on-year increase in GGR, nearly doubled their GGR for 2022. This was the full year 2022 accounts. 566 million US dollars. Great work, Newport World Resorts. Of course, that improved progressively through 2022. Average occupancy, 66% across all their hotels. There's a lot of hotels at Newport World Resorts. So well done to Hakan Dagtas and all the team over at Newport World Resorts. A great result in 2022, and I'm sure it's got even better in 2023. Now, still staying in the Philippines, but going on up to Clark. I was up in Clark for 5 days recently, just got here a couple of days ago, and I had a very enjoyable stay at Han Casino Resort. They took great care of me there. And while I was there, South Korean golf pro, KJ Choi, came. We had a press conference and I attended, and I got to meet KJ Choi, which was great. And they launched the second golf course at Han Reserve. There's going to be 3 golf courses at Han Reserve, a mountain course, a river course, and a valley course. And the 3 courses are going to be by KJ Choi, Jack Nicklaus, and Nick Faldo. So that is great. And they're going to have, I've noted down here all the hotels that are coming to Han, Banyan Tree, Angsana, Sofitel and Emblems from Accor, and the Luxury Collection and Western from Marriott. So add that to the Swissôtel and the Marriott that they've already got. Wow. 8 hotels eventually. I mean, we're talking 2030 by the time they all open, but what a ambitious project from Mr. Han up there in Clark, and good luck to him, and a very, very interesting property, and congrats to Dennis Andriachi there too. Still in the Philippines, Padcor came out and warned on illegal online betting. They put out a public advisory. So Padcor is making a big thing of trying to differentiate between POGOs and illegal online betting. So a lot of the sort of bad stuff around online betting, they're saying, well, it's not actually POGOs. Don't blame POGOs. They're licensed and they're official. It's actually these sort of unscrupulous online operators, which for a while they tried to brand no-goes. And, you know, fair enough. I mean, don't bet with unlicensed, unregulated, unscrupulous operators. I think that goes without saying. So well done for Padcor for making that announcement. Nearly done. Down to Sydney in Australia, a couple of interesting things. The trade union boss came out and said, look, if they do this tax hike, the New South Wales government, the new incoming Labor government said prior to the election, which was just a couple of weeks ago, that they won and they became the new government there, They said they're going to increase the tax on pokies, on slot machines, or pokies as they're called in Australia, from the current, well, it's a little bit complicated. It's not one fixed number, but let's just say 32% to a number greater than 60%. And the union boss came out and said, well, this will cost $100 million US, or US dollars or Australian dollars, can't remember, maybe Australian. And, he's worried about workers losing their jobs. Well, the very next day, IAG published a story, Star cuts 500 jobs, freezes salaries as regulatory restrictions bite. So they've been fined 200 million Australian dollars. They've had a complete change of management, complete change of board. They've had a new CEO, and then he's gone out, and now there's a new one coming in. This is for Sydney, not for the group as a whole, because remember, they have Queensland interests as well, Gold Coast and Brisbane. I refer you all to the editorial that Ben wrote in IAG, let's see, I think it was the March issue, where he talked about who is the New South Wales government punishing now? Who are the Australian governments punishing now? Because almost every single executive that was involved in Star during that time of bad behaviour has gone, and you're just punishing the staff now, the line staff and the shareholders. But it's all about appeasing the media. It's all about casinos being a punching bag in Australia. I never thought I'd say this, as somebody over the years has been quite anti-casino at times, but I really feel for the casinos in Australia, because they've just been made this sort of wicked witch, and it's a bit of I'm sounding like Trump now, but it's a bit of a witch hunt, and they've been punished and punished severely. I think they've learned their lesson, but now it's getting to the point where those businesses are almost crippled as revenue earning, or as viable businesses. Their income earning capacity maybe halved, maybe more. So this is a real problem. There's going to be a lot of job cuts, and we're getting people coming out saying things like, do we need a casino industry? Well, I would like to remind people I remember the times in Australia before there were legal casinos, and there were a lot of illegal casinos in King's Cross, and a lot of much worse behaviour going on, much worse than what we've seen from the casinos thus far. So, that's my little thing about Australia. One last story, interesting story. The Premier League removed gambling sponsorships from the shirt fronts. This has been coming for a number of years, and it's the online gaming companies that are going to hurt from this. A lot of the online gaming companies were using Premier League shirt front sponsorships to market themselves. I believe it was 7 out of the 20 teams had some kind of online gaming company. And if you watch Premier League games in Asia, they're on Saturday night, which is perfect. You'll often see Chinese going around the electronic hoardings around the side. There's a lot of marketing to Asia from the EPL, and Asians like to gamble when they bet on sports betting. They bet on football. Of course, they bet on the EPL more than anything else. They don't bet on Asian football because they think Asian football is rigged. And they might be right. So EPL is a big thing in Chinese culture, in Asian culture. And to remove that is going to hurt the club. So, but again, public pressure. All right. Well, that's it for this week. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing my wrap up of the week. As you know, I'm in Okada Manila now. Mad tonight for me, last night for you. Be here till Sunday. Then I'm flying to Hong Kong on Sunday. I'll be in Hong Kong Monday, and come over to Macau either Monday night or Tuesday morning. Haven't decided yet. And then it's Mad at Sofitel on Tuesday evening. If you've received an invitation and you haven't RSVP'd yet, please do. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Sofitel. They've done a wonderful job looking after us as a venue sponsor. Thank you to our platinum sponsors, sponsor Light and Wonder, and our gold sponsor IGT, who have sponsored both Mads in Manila and Macau. That's very, very nice of them. And that's it for this week. And I will see you next week back from home base in Macau after we'll be by then be 13 weeks on the road, or 12 or 13. So that's it for me, and see you next week. Have a great weekend, and bye for now. See ya.
Run.